It's too big.
Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you? And where you should not. For my ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it. Makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force around you. Here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between the land and the ship.
That was Yoda and Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. And there is a lot of wisdom in the words of Yoda. The Force, it is indeed all about the Force. Because electric fields do not interact with magnetic fields. Electric fields do not interact with gravitational fields. And magnetic fields do not interact with electric fields. And magnetic fields do not interact with gravitational fields. So how is it possible that a beam of light can be deflected by a gravitational field? And we will speak about this interaction in the next chapter. But this chapter is pure about a foundation in physics where we can build on, because this foundation is pure built on Newton's physics. The physics from the real world and not the physics from the mathematical swamps. Because you can go everywhere in mathematics and you can go further and further, but finally you're speaking about a world that doesn't exist. And this theory wants to really relate to the existing world, the world that is real. And what connects this world in everything, the whole universe, is always the Force. Because if two electric fields interact, the result is a force. And if two magnetic fields interact, it's a force. When two gravitational fields interact, it's a force. And the forces together, it doesn't matter, it's electrical, it's magnetical, or it's gravitational, or it's inertia, but together the forces and the force densities always have to be zero at any time, at any place, in any direction. And if that requirement is fulfilled, then the phenomenon exists. And that's the fundamental basic law in physics, which Newton perfectly expressed in the third law. But the third law is also valid for the interaction between gravity and light. It doesn't matter what interactions we are talking about, it is always the force. The force unifies everything in the universe, and in this way, a very amazing way, the little cartoon figure in Star Wars, Yoda, is speaking words which are extremely powerful in physics and will help us to build a kind of physics which is really about the real world and not the world of mathematical fantasy. Charles Augustin de Coulomb has done research at the Académie des Sciences in 1777 with a torsion scale to find the forces between electric charged particles. And he has discovered that this force between charged particles is proportional to the inverse of the square of the distance. The result of Coulomb's research is that he found a proportionality between an electric charge and the electric field surrounding this electric charge. He presents this here as the electric field of a charged particle A and another electric particle B, and the total force F interaction between particle A and particle B equals the electric field indicated with an A and electric charge indicated with a B. In this example we calculate the force density, and for this reason we will divide the force by the total volume of the field. The electric field is a Lorentz transformed magnetic field. Originally it was a magnetic field, but due to the Lorentz transformation, which equals the cross product of the velocity relative to the field and the magnetic field intensity, we replace the electric field E by the cross product between the velocity of the observer and the magnetic field. And the Coulomb force is now written as a product of the Lorentz transformed magnetic field, V cross B, times the electric charge, divided by the volume, the total force density in Newton per cubic meter, equals the relative velocity cross product the magnetic field intensity times the charge density. André-Marie Ampère was a French physicist and a mathematician who was one of the founders of the science of classical electromagnetism, which he referred to as electrodynamics. He is also the inventor of numerous applications such as the solenoid and the electrical telegraph. He became famous for his law, Ampere's law, which is a law and describes that related to the electric current through a wire, that the magnetic field will fulfill an integral along the surface of a line along the magnetic field lines. The force density expressed in Newton per cubic meter equals the velocity V cross product the magnetic field intensity B times the charge density. We change now the position, and by changing the position the cross product gets a minus sign, and the force density also equals minus the magnetic field intensity cross product the velocity V times the electric charge expressed in Coulomb per cubic meters, which can be written as the minus sign times the magnetic field intensity cross product the velocity times the electric charge density expressed in Newton per cubic meter. The current density, expressed as the current E divided by the surface, this is mostly written as the G as a vector, which equals the relative velocity times the charge density and is expressed in ampere per square meters, which results in the force density expressed by an interaction between a magnetic field and electric current, current density G, equals the minus sign times the magnetic field intensity cross product the electric current density G, and by changing the magnetic inductance by the magnetic field intensity H, we have to add the permeability mu. The total force density expressed in Newton per cubic meter equals the minus sign times the permeability times the magnetic field intensity cross product the electric current density G. This is expressed always in Newton per cubic meters, and it is very important to realize that in fact this is still the Coulomb force, but it is the Coulomb force interacting between a Lorentz transformed magnetic field and another electric field. Two electric fields interact together, and it is confusing because we see appearing a magnetic field, but it has been observed as an electric field. Now follows a very important step by applying Ampere's law into this equation. The law of Ampere has been expressed in an integral form, which is the middle equation, and at the bottom the differential form of Ampere's law, which indicates the current density G expressed as the cross product, the magnetic field intensity expressed in ampere per square meters.